Hold on. Marcus, you don't take your foot outside and drill that ball in the
Concrete, welcome to All Ball. Format unique, all access for all y'all. What the spiel like back full of elite athletes that wanna teach and it speaks to the streets, so it feel right. Marcus Liberty, a legend on and off the court to give you what you need. Robert Reed is your co-host. Go. Yeah. Like and subscribe and follow like a crossover. Never know what might fall through this bitch tomorrow. So, All Ball Chicago. All Ball Chicago. All Ball Chicago. All I know is All Ball Chicago. All Ball Chicago. All Ball Chicago. All Ball Chicago. All I know is All Ball Chicago.
Welcome to another edition of All Ball Chicago. I'm your co-host, Robert Bobby Reed, and I got the legend, the NBA veteran, the McDonald All-American, your host, Marcus, living in the building. What's up, Marcus?
What's up, my beautiful people? Well, Bobby, you forgot some things. Parade, All-American, USA Today, Player of the Year. I mean, come on, man. If you're going to do it, you got to do it right, kid.
Keep going, man. Keep going. I know the accolades don't stop, man. You know what, man? I was talking to you the other day about that, man. You don't like to blow your own horn. You're not supposed to. It's for other people to blow. So I'm gonna help you blow it a little bit here. and you know, and we was talking about as far as top five, me and you, just real quick before we get to the list, like top five to come out of Chicago. We're talking high school basketball. We're not talking about the pros. We're not talking about college. We're talking about high school basketball. And I said, arguably, in my opinion, I think you are top five. And you said you agree. And you tell me why you agree. Tell the people why you agree. And this is not being arrogant. This is just factual stuff.
Man, factual stuff. You said it right on the point, my man. Think about this. I went to Crane High School my freshman year, played on the Frossaw team. Guess what we did over there? Won a city championship. Guess who we beat? Simeon, right? So I'm at Crane. I did that. So that's one city championship you have, right? Okay. I transfer and go to King High School. Everybody know what happened that sophomore year. We lost to Tilden, right? Mm-hmm. So no championships there. You know, we play the game to win some championships. We don't play the game just to be playing, right? And my junior year comes around at King High School, we won the city championship. Not only that year did we win the city championship, we won the state championship. That has not been done in King High School, right? Mm-hmm. So we were the guys that did that. We put that championship in there in that hallway in King High School, right? And then my senior year comes around. Not only did I win another city championship, I get downstate again. But this year, we got runner-up. We had two freshmen, you know, Johnny and Jamie playing on that team, started on that team, two freshmen, and we got all the way. Those freshmen helped me get back downstate to try to repeat. We lost to LaFonso Ellis, a great East St. Louis team. We lost to them, but we got down there again. We won the city championship again. Runner-up state championship. So, Bob, if you think about the things that I just said, I said championships. I won 3 city championships in Chicago.
That's big.
How many people can actually say that?
In 4 years. We're talking 4 years of playing high school basketball. You threw your arms up in the air like this 4 times.
And, Bob, I never, like as far as getting buckets, that was easy for me. You know, I knew I could score with the best of them. You know, so I would say for my career, average probably 27 points a game for my career in high school. Now, a lot of people, you know, they go off of feelings. You know, when they pick these lists and things and whatnot, they go off of, you know, their feelings. You gotta, if you really gonna get down and talk about, you know, some basketball, especially on the high school level, man, I gotta be in top 5.
Hands down. And Brian Noche chimed in. He said they got Cox on there. Y'all coach?
They got Cox on there. They got They don't even have Bob Hembrick on there. They don't have
But he
Bob
say,
Hembrick on
Brian knows you say, how is Sonny Cox on here and not Marcus?
there.
And but they got Jamie on there.
Hey, whoever made this list, man, check him, test him, test him.
They said, okay, the guy's name is Taylor Bell.
I know who Taylor Bell is. Sometime Taylor Bell may be losing it. You know,
Taylor Bell, he old.
I mean, you don't even have Ben Wilson on there. You know,
Right.
You don't have.
Right.
You know, if we gonna do it, let's do it. Let's talk about it. You know, it's some guys that it's an influential list, right?
Mm-hmm,
Come on.
mm-hmm.
What are you entailing about that? What is it all about? Is it about the numbers? Is it about you doing community service? What is it about? You just gonna put a list out there and think people not gonna talk about it? Man, that's not cool. That's not cool with me.
Right.
All right.
Right.
So let's get down to the nitty-gritty of it. You know, I respect that you have the Mark Aguirre. You got Mark Aguirre on that list. I respect that. You got Isaiah Thomas. I respect that. But some of these guys, like Andy Kaufman. Andy Kaufman is on there from Jacksonville, Illinois. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Have anybody seen Andy Kaufman lately?
Who is that?
Andy Kaufman he's a walking bucket now. I'm not discrediting him at all. He's a walking but you haven't heard his name being mentioned in anything in the last 20 years.
Right.
So that's why I said, man, maybe he's getting a little old, my man who put this list out, and that's why it's happening the way it is. But I don't get it, I really don't. So when you brought this to my attention about this list, I said we got to talk about it. We have to talk about this list because it doesn't make sense. So go ahead and read some of the names on there.
Okay. I see he got starting with number 1. He got Mark Aguirre. Okay, you got that right. You got big draws right. You got draws right. Neil Alexander. Who is that?
I don't know.
Okay, so that's another one. And he got himself Taylor Bell number 3. So,
well, Bob, first let's talk about the list, right? I mean, the year. He's going from 1972 to 2022. That's what he's going.
2022.
Right, 2022. So he got Taylor Bell, Jamie Brandon, D. Brown, Quinn Buckner, Doug Collins, Sonny Cox, Bruce Douglas, LaFonso Ellis, Ron Fillings, Kevin Garnett. We could even debate that one, Kevin Garnett. Right.
Garnett was only here for a year.
He was only there for a year, but he did some good things for Chicago. I'm not gonna sit up here and say that. That's why I said we got to find out what the list is all about, right?
But Kevin Garnett, we talking about influential. We talking about influential over the course of their career in Chicago. He only played 1 year, so you cannot put KG on that list. Right. I'm sorry, Lil. I'll be the one to say it.
Right.
Somebody
said Neil Anderson was a coach at Lincoln, Illinois.
Okay.
Lincoln, Illinois. Yeah. So, Lincoln, Illinois. I think that's where Brian Cooks went to school, and I think his cousin went there too, Joe Cook, who ended up playing at Duke. So he's probably a legendary coach. He's probably did a lot of great things. But we talking about this list, and I got in my feelings a little bit. Yeah, I got in my feelings because I think I did enough for my name to be mentioned in this list, and my name.
It was a gross attempt to assassinate what you've accomplished because they put your coach on there and they put your younger buck on there, Jamie Brandon. They put Jamie and Cox on there, so that was an aggressive attempt to assassinate what you was able to accomplish over at King, and I feel like that it was strategic.
And then you don't have none of the boys, Donnie Boys, Sherrell Ford, Michael Finley. Those guys did a lot. People were watching them. People were, tuned in to those guys. You don't have them, no one on that team on that list. So you don't have Nick Anderson on that list. So what was he thinking about when he made this list?
I don't know, man. He got a very short memory because he only got from Simeon. Well, he got Rob Smith, he got Jabari Parker, and he got D Rose. So he's thinking more so what's happening right now as opposed to he didn't go too far back because then you got to go with guys like Tim Bankston, Bobby Simmons. You got to throw Bobby Simmons in there, man. Bobby
But
Simmons
Bob,
got left off.
listen. If you talk about influential people, you got to even throw in Mac Irvin, Mr. Irvin.
You got to throw Mac Irvin.
He did a lot
man.
for kids in the inner city.
He owned it. He owned it.
You got to throw in Sonny Parker, who's still doing stuff for the inner city kid. So what is he basing this off? That's all I'm trying to see.
Right. I wish I could have found this on Illinois Basketball Coaches Association. So this came from the Illinois Basketball Coaches Association.
Exactly.
60 most influential in Illinois basketball.
I knew that. I saw that.
Oh, wow.
I saw that. But still, he wrote it, but evidently some coaches voted on it. They voted on who's who. Man, I played basketball in the 1980s, in the 80s. That wasn't too long ago. You can remember that. If you remember Jamie Brandon.
Right. And your coach.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go to some of our people who's chiming in. My man John Williams says, "What?" My friend Latasha Morris, she says,
Margaret Libby.
Go ahead.
Screw them in that list. God knows what you did, and so do the world. That's a person who doesn't know real basketball history. The list is garbage. We want it. We want this. I mean, we're not gonna just let this slide. You know, we're a family show, but this is bogus. If we're talking Chicago basketball, and we talk about one of the greatest players to play in Chicago high school basketball, this got to be addressed. How is Sonny Cox on here and not Marcus? Come on now. Come on, man. You brought him his first state championship, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's
Did they win any more? Oh, they did win after that. That's right.
Oh, yeah. But you got to think, if you're really thinking about King High School, right? A lot of great players went there. I'm not knocking nobody who came before me and after me, right? But when I got there, we started winning, city and state championships, right? And that opened up the floodgates for other kids to say, you know what? I like that style. Man, I like the way he let Marcus Liberty ball. So I want to go and participate on it. I want to participate in that. All up and down State Street, man. He was getting kids from the Robert Taylors. He was getting kids from out south. He was getting kids from out west. They all wanted to play because they saw King on a bigger scale. They saw him in city championships. They saw us playing at the Pavilion, and getting down. So when you have that type of, atmosphere and you out there balling, man, that's a beautiful thing. So now kids wanted to come and be a part of that, for me not to be on that list is crazy to me, So that's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna say too much else about it, Bob, but that's crazy. That's crazy.
Well, I'll say a little bit more about it. I don't mind saying a little bit more about it, man. I mean, in my era coming up through the 80s, other than Benji, and I'm just talking about the elite names. Other than Benji, you and Tim Hardaway and Nick, you couldn't talk basketball without those names, period, bro, in the 80s. Benji, Marcus, Tim Hardaway, Nick. Those were the names. And then Byron Irvin over at Julian, he was doing his thing. But other than that, basketball is synonymous with those names in the 80s, man. And they dropped the ball on this list big time. And the guy who put it on there, he needs to be addressed. The Illinois Basketball Coaches Association needs to be addressed for this travesty. This is a pure mockery of our long history of basketball and the players who came before. And put the work in.
Definitely, man. I remember watching basketball when I was a shorty, man, watching Joe Stiffens and Marshall and Fred Marshall play, Hindu at Collins, man. Eric Berger at Westinghouse, the list can Tracy Dildy. I was watching Tim Hardaway. I was watching those guys, play and hoop and Ben Wilson. I can't forget about Ben Wilson, watching them guys play and ball out. And man, thinking about it like, man, one day, I'm gonna be on that stage, So I I always pay homage to the guys that came before me. I never looked down on nobody and thought that I was that dude. But when you come out with lists like this and not say, what is it really about? Because I never got in any trouble, never did anything off the court, and I always kept my head on an even keel, like straight level, right? I never got in any trouble. And I did my thing in between those lines in 94 feet, So for that list to come out like that, Bob, is crazy, right? So let's talk about high school basketball.
Before you go there, I'm just looking at this post right here, Liberty. You still had a state championship game where you scored 41 against my cousin Benny Lewis at East St. Louis Lincoln team. You dropped 41 in the state championship game.
Bob, not only that, it was 2 championship games I dropped 41. I did it in the city championship in Chicago, public school, to get downstate. Dropped 41 against Crane High School, my old team.
Okay.
Right? And the only reason why I did that because the fans were like heckling me and talking about traitor. I said, I'm gonna show you a traitor. I could hear that stuff, but I didn't respond in a way that I'm gonna talk stuff to the crowd. But I let my game say, you know what? At the end of the game, y'all talking that traitor stuff and watch what happens. I still got love for my peoples over at Crane, though, but I had to do that, Crane.
The crowd should have shut up. If the crowd would have shut up,
I probably gave 20 and got up out of there.
Y'all might have lost.
Yeah, but so I had 41 in that game. That's why you hear people talk about that record, that still stands today. That I scored over 100 and something points in four games. That record still stands today in the Illinois High School Association. But the guy who wrote this didn't even mention none of that stuff. That's what I'm saying. So if those people did that type of stuff, then kudos to them.
Right.
If they doing stuff in the community, kudos to them. But don't sit up there and think like I didn't do anything for Chicago. I had many, many kids that came up to me that still to this day, grown people coming up to me and saying, man, I appreciate what you did for basketball in Chicago. You got me wanting to rock certain shoes. You got me wanting to get certain haircuts. You got me wanting to dress certain way because of what you were doing.
Right.
So, and I got facts on that. Like I got emails. I got text messages from people saying this to me that, man, Marcus, I looked up to you, man. I wanted to be like you. Juwan Howard even came out publicly on a podcast and said, we wanted to be like Marcus.
Right. And Jalen Rose too, right?
And Jalen Rose too. But you want to come out with a list that said influential people? Man, come on.
Let it right fucking poke the bear.
Man, come on, dude.
Don't poke the bear.
Come on, dude. I know my stuff, man. I know my stuff. But yeah, man. So I won those, championships, and East St. Louis, was a great team. We beat them in a summer camp. We beat them. So I think some of my guys thought it was going to be an easy run, to get back at them, and if you listen to, Benny Lewis, comments in the newspaper, he's like, he wanted to run. He wanted to run a gun. And that's my game. So I was cool with it. But was my other players, was they ready for that type of atmosphere? That fast pace up and down. They popped us. They got us. I wanted that back-to-back, man. So shout out to East St. Louis, man.
That's what's up. Marcus Muhammad said Taylor Bell has 10 days to make corrections or his years of basketball scholarship must be accompanied by an asterisk. Oh, man, you just not going to be putting stuff out here, man, about Chicago basketball. And we got all ball Chicago, and then we always on the internet and we see stuff, man. Marcus had that game. We all wanted. We all strive to emulate his game. Thanks that what was up with his inspiration, Big Bro. Did I read that wrong? That's what's up for the inspiration.
Thanks.
That's what's up for the inspiration.
Appreciate you, Sean. Appreciate you, my brother, for sure, man. We got a lot of people chiming in this morning, man. We appreciate that too. Basketball in the 80s and 90s in Illinois in the Big Ten. Wow. Yeah, I said the
You
same
know,
thing, John.
I mean, it's. Let me just say this, Liv, and I enjoy doing the show with you, man, because you're very humble, and like I tell you all the time, I couldn't have been you because my head would have been. I'd have walked through the door sideways. My head would have been so big, but you know, you look at the career LeBron James had coming out of Cleveland. If Chicago would have embraced you like that, you know, nurtured you and made sure, ensured that you was able to reach your full potential, there's no telling what could have happened for your career. You see what I'm saying? You see how Cleveland nurtured the shit out, excuse my language, out of LeBron, man. They kept him in Cleveland. They made sure he was at home. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. The list is biased and not enough real history of what city was all about. The city title went through the Red Central and Red South during the 80s. The list makes no sense. How not to go and have Simeon head coach can do it with this list he's looking. Do it. What list was he looking at?
Mm-hmm.
How do you not? Marcus Liberty on the list. Definitely Ben Wilson. Hey man, I mean it's he got people talking. That's for sure.
Yeah, and maybe that's what he wanted to do. He wanted to get some likes out there. You know, it's funny, but I know we really talking, you know, about this list, but it is funny how this guy put that list out there and not, you know, not chime in and say why or, you know, who all voted on it.
And let me ask you this though. So when you score 41 to win the city championship, when you went downstate and did it in the state championship, what was you thinking, man?
Man,
What you do? What did you black out?
No, man, ain't no blacking out. Shoot, man, I didn't black out. I gave him buckets. You know, I was thinking about winning.
Do you remember? Was you just like in the zone? What happened for you to just go through that? Was that mostly free throws? What was that?
No,
everything.
Man, that was everything. Coast to coast, floaters. You know, I didn't dunk in that game, but floaters and pull ups and, you know, fade away, baseline jump shots. It was a variety of
a wide arrangement and assortment of everything
of who I was, Bob. You know, it was fortunate. I was fortunate enough to have a coach that believed in me, you know, and let me do those type of things, you know. And a lot of players didn't have that, and I think East St. Louis coach did the same thing. He let Alfonso Ellis, you know, do his thing out there, along with the other players that was on that team as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but yeah, I was thinking about winning, man. So I was trying to win the game, man. And also I had 15 rebounds in that game.
So based on that performance, 41 and 15 in the state championship game, those numbers was legit enough to go to the NBA straight out of high school.
Man, I wish I would have listened to Doug Collins when Doug Collins came out of the newspaper and said Marcus Liberty is he can go play in the NBA right now.
You should have laughed.
Yeah, and I remember listening to Kevin Garnett, you know, documentary when he says Isaiah Thomas came in there and said that, and the light bulb went off in his head, like, damn, I could really do that, you know. There wasn't nobody thinking about it, and nobody really thought about the history when Moses went out and all these other guys that was under high schools in high school that went out. So we wasn't thinking about that, you know, and it was crazy, man, just to see that him. Kevin Garnett be the first one over in 20 years or something to do it, and then he did it, and then it's what snowballed into other guys, you know, coming out, you know, and doing their thing. So if I would have did it, I could have been the first one that, you know, that did it, and then those guys would probably have followed.
Because you could have did it. Because what would 1 year, 2 years of college had done for a kid of your caliber at 18, 19? Because you at your best, you're at your most rawest at that age.
In high school, yes. And all it would have did was made me stronger, right? The guys would have got me stronger, you know, and I already had all the other stuff, so I would have never lost any of that, of the stuff that I was, you know, taught in high school and elementary school. I had the handles. I had, you know, the jump shot. My jump shot it still needed some work, but I knew how to get to that basket from playing in the playgrounds and the streets, you know, so that wouldn't have been different. So, yeah, it would have been a little bit more physical, but I wasn't gonna back down from that. I think I would have learned from that.
And to add to that, you played in the summer league with the pros, and you were shining with the pros in the summer league. So that was a clear indication that you was ready.
Yeah.
Even Nick, I'm just saying, like y'all was ready, man, at the high school, man.
Yeah, definitely.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
Definitely.
We can't get that time back, but moving forward, man, we're gonna make sure that these young brothers and what you're doing with your new company, you want to drop that right quick. You want to talk about that or no?
No, I'm
with
just
Illinois.
I'm just doing what I'm supposed to be doing, man. Giving back to kids, helping them, mentor them, guide them. As many times I didn't, help somebody get through narrative, of what they're trying to do in life and where they're trying to go and what it looks like to have a good work ethic, and trying to get to that higher level that you're trying to get to, whether that's D1, D2, D3, whatever, but I give them advice. That's what I've been doing since I stopped playing.
And then you always let these kids know to be great in the space they in.
Quit
looking over here, don't look over there. Dominate where you at.
Got to, man. Got to. And if it happens, that you do what you're supposed to and your numbers and your IQ is off the charts, then you feel that you did enough for that program and you're ready to move on to something bigger and better, then do that, But I wouldn't just up and leave a program just because you don't like a coach or something else, because I know if you do your homework, then you're at the right program. If you do your homework, then you're at the right program.
And when you say do your homework, you saying what? What do a player need to do before they get ready to pick a school? What is the key thing that you told your nephew Javon when you was switching him from Valpo to DePaul? Because you were instrumental in all of that. I know.
Yeah. Understand the coach's philosophy. You got to understand what the coach is all about first. And does it match up with what you want? Right? If it doesn't match up with what you want, then you just going there just to be going because it's a quote unquote top dog school, and that coach and you don't see eye to eye, then why go there? Why go there? So that's one of the main things I tell kids to always look at. You might have to do it the whole year before you make a decision, because one day he might be rah, that type of coach. And you're like, I want to go play for him. And then the next day he's chewing, he's all up in the kid's face, screaming and spitting coming out of his mouth and like he want to hit you, Right. And so you got to make a decision if that's something that you want to play for, and then you get to know the assistant coach a little bit and say, look, man, I'm going to come down to a practice, but don't let the coach know. Don't let the head coach come. You pop in there and see how he's doing, looking and then all of a sudden you say, man, I don't know if I want to be with this, or man, I love this.
Because you said one thing, and we're gonna go back to, since we own this topic, you did it all. So I'm picking your brain. You said these coaches that come sit in your living room and do what there?
They'll lie to you. They'll lie to you, man. They'll tell you all that good stuff, man. And you get down there, man. You're like, what all this stuff you was telling me about, man? You give me the rock. You're going to put the rock in my hand. You're going to let me do my thing. You see none of that. You see none of that. So that's another thing that people got to be mindful of, like, man, I think sometimes now kids need to put coaches on blast. Tell them, like, man, don't blow smoke up my butt. Tell me I'm gonna have to earn my spot on the team, my playing time. I'd rather you keep it real 100 with me than to lie and say you gonna have the ball in your hands. It's gonna be your show.
Right.
That's not cool. That's not cool.
Because it's a script they put together for every kid, right? And like if we could drop a camera in front of every kid in the nation when the coach is in there talking, they basically saying what? Tell me what the words are. You recruit me. Give me the script.
I gotta have you, man. You're one of the best players I've seen in a long time. You're one of the best players I've seen in a long time. I've been recruiting a lot of kids in Chicago area, and I think if you come and join our program, you'll be one of the next best guys to come out. So do we have a commitment from you? And you thinking, you're like, man, he told me some good things. Oh, and also, man, I want to let your mom know we're going to take care of you. Everything's fine. We don't want you to be thinking about being homesick. We need you to stay focused. Man, you don't even hear from that coach, man. You get on campus. You be like, man, who's the head coach? I don't even know. I never met him before, you know.
Oh wow. Oh boy.
Yeah, man.
That's
So
crazy.
my man Rodney, look what my man Rodney says, man.
Don't expose him again. Because it's a script. Because you had them all. You talked to them all. Give me some of the top coaches you talked to doing your recruitment.
I'm just gonna say this, Bob. Most of the coaches, I'm not gonna say all of them, but most of the coaches are actors. It's a scene, man. They go in your living room. It's a scenery, man. All right, so I see what they looking at the scenery too. Like, how can I approach? What can I say to make it look good? You know, sound good. So when I walk into the house, okay, yeah, you know, we're gonna make sure he's gonna have potential to make it to the NBA if he comes here. You know, because such and such came here. He was in this program too now. You know, and you saw what he did. But that person, whoever you were talking about, you know, he probably didn't give a shit about you. You know, he's like, I'm on my own. I'm doing my thing. You know, and you couldn't control that. You know, I always say some players you can't really control. You even though if you try to, you can't. You know, and then you got some players like myself who listens to the coach, who want to do what the coach asked of him. You know, and sometimes you may have to just step out a little bit. Coach, you know,
like your boy Chris Jackson said, or Mike Moon said, you got to be like the Harriet Tubman of basketball to some degree. You got to. He said it on our show. Remember, you got to be the rebellious one for them to understand, because you have to train the coach's eyes. God Foreman lied to all of Illinois' kids to get us out to New Mexico State. Everybody thought they were starting.
Oh, Rodney, my man. Hey, but that's what they do, man. And
oh wow,
when they do
you
that,
see this other comment, Big Dog,
about Luke,
this
one, I can agree. I mean, I can agree. And we had said this many times on our podcast. You know, God rest his soul, you know, Lou Henson. But he was so old school that he didn't want to change. He didn't want to change. And I think the guys like a Jim Boeheim, who kept evolving, kept, you know, transitioning to what today's game was about, what kind of kids he wanted and all that, he kept, you know, changing. And you see what he did. He won one with Carmelo Anthony. He won the national championship with Carmelo Anthony, and that is hard to win national championships. You know,
Carmelo came in there big brother.
Yeah, and we had a squad. You know, that 1989 squad was dope. I mean, we had a squad, but at the same time, you know, I still don't think everybody on that team played to their best ability. You know, what they could have brought to the table. You know, so I just see it as I see it, man. You know, I'm not gonna shy away from it. I just think that, you know, Lou Henson was more of a defensive-minded coach, you know, and I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it on my podcast, on our podcast. I ain't give a damn about no defense.
You like Charles Barkley, you get hurt playing defense.
Man. But I'm gonna tell you this: I was a hell of a help side defender. I can do that, you know, and that's what Lou Henson was more about, you know, that shell drill, help the helper, and so I was good at that, you know. That man to man, boy, if you had some kind of quickness, you blowing by me.
Well, you 6'8", but you was 6'8". How you gonna guard them small guys?
But man, I can help. I'm take that charge.
Let me ask you though, do you think that that he was just one of those coaches? Did he call plays every possession? Was he one of those type of coaches that wanted to run a play every time down?
Yeah, and he had Bardo too, Stephen Bardo out there. But every time if you watch Bardo bring the ball up, he's looking at that bench, you know, like what we got, you know. So it's cool.
So Bardo wasn't able to really reach his full potential all the way then.
No, we had a squad, man, that if I get all my guys on the show and we talk about what should have happened, everybody would have been probably on the same page. It's like we should have been running. And that's
Right,
not
like
saying,
UNLV.
yeah, that's not saying one particular guy brings it up. You got all 5 of us could dribble. I mean, besides Lowell Hamilton, probably. Lowell Hamilton,
Right.
but he still could push it up. But
Right.
the other guys, Kenny Battle, Nick Anderson, Kendall Gill, Steve Bardo, they can push that ball. And then you come off the bench with me, Irvin, and Larry Smith, who can dribble the ball and handle the ball. Man, our practices when Lou Henson wasn't around was like an NBA practice, dude. No joke. We were all balling, dunking, look away passes. But then when you get in the game, you can't do none of that. Can't do none of that. So a lot of us got our creativity taken away from us. A lot of us, including
And that's sad, man.
including me. You know,
mostly you.
I like
Mostly
to do a
you.
look away pass. I like to spin. I like to do a 360, dunk.
Right.
Or a 360 finger roll.
Well, they had you had to sit out as a freshman. So you had mentioned to me that you should have went to a JUCO that year and just scored 100 points a game.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
But you got to think about it. The Proposition 48 had just came out. That was his second year in effect, right?
Mm-hmm.
Larry Johnson committed to SMU, and he decommitted and went to what? A JUCO.
A JUCO. Sure did.
He went down in the JUCO and destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
He had conversations. He said this on some of his podcasts. He had conversations with Stacey Augmon. They already had met through the junior college circuit. And he talked to Jerry Tarkanian about recruiting this kid named Larry Johnson. Stacey Augmon has said this, and it's out there on the podcast or somewhere. And Tark said, okay, fine. If you like him, we're going to get him. So he offered Larry Johnson to come and play with Stacey Augmon, and the rest is history. So happened, Tarkanian let them play, let those boys play.
Oh, he let them play, man.
He
let them play.
So that's what happened, then. And I was, thinking about going to Kankakee Community College, which is in Illinois. I was going to go there and say, you know what? But Illinois kind of said, nah, you just sit out this year and, and get better, because they knew if I go to junior college, I'm opening up my recruiting again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm opening up my recruiting again. So here it is again. They manipulated, me by telling me you don't want to do that, this and that. And I should have went with my gut. My gut feeling was go do it. And if Illinois was meant for me to be at, I would have probably signed right back with them. But at least I would open up the opportunities for other teams to come back in and say, all right, we see what you did in junior college. You ain't miss a beat now because you ain't rusty because you hadn't set out that year. So then things would have changed, you
wouldn't even be sitting here right now, potentially.
I'll probably still be sitting here, but
I don't know about all ball Chicago though. But look, you think about this, big fella. You go to Kankakee, right? You turn that out because you just turned out high school. I mean, let's face facts. So those same freshmen, and most of them that coming in, you just beat them in high school. You don't end up going to college after that. You probably end up throwing your name in the draft, bro. You're 6'8", man. You're 6'8", man. You can't teach height with the ability. And so one guy put on here, I like what he said. He said, good shit, Libby. Appreciate this real. Appreciate the real. Yeah, man. When you dropping it real, because to live in an experience is one thing. People can always, Jay-Z said all the time, how people can always tell you about something, but they never did it. Like, how could you tell me about something, but you never done it?
Right.
So it's coming from the horse's mouth, man. And these kids need to know that. He said that's why LJ went to Odessa.
Yeah, he did. That's why I really want to do a documentary, about my life, but also, teaching, having teaching moments in it, teaching lessons in it. And I'm gonna do it, I promise I'm gonna do it. And I think it'll be a good look, for not just Chicago, but for kids around the country. And then I want my fellow guys who I hooped against, the Sean Higgins of the world, the Dennis Scotts of the world, Lloyd Daniels. I want them to come on and share their stories too, because I know basketball is bigger than what we all think. We all think it's just in your neighborhood. We all think that basketball just is there, but it's a national, it's a worldwide sport, and kids from all over go through different obstacles, have different obstacles in their way, and how to maneuver through those obstacles. Sometimes you got to go through them, but sometimes they can be prevented. And that's what I think I want to. That is what I want to do with my documentary.
That's gonna be real, man. That's gonna be huge. Real quick, this is a sidebar. When I took Colin down at the Tougaloo, Coach Struthers.
No, you got to tell people who's Colin. You got to tell people who's Colin.
Okay, my son Colin Reed. He committed to go to Tougaloo, small HBCU school in Mississippi, NAIA. But he's playing for Coach Struthers, and Coach Struthers' assistant coach is Coach Billups. Coach Billups been coaching basketball for 46 years, and he the uncle of Chauncey Billups, and he also the uncle of the Billups that was at the Denver University. So they had seen a couple of our episodes of the show. They want to come on the show, man.
Okay.
They want to talk about that Southern, how it is coming up down there, because we all come up different. You know what I'm saying? And they love the show. And when I was talking to them, they team coach. When I say that, they were like, whoever get the head job, you're gonna be my assistant. Do you find that brothers are sticking together like that in the Midwest when it comes to coaching? Are we bringing our people in? Do you know that?
No, I don't think everybody's thinking like that. And I think some coaches get so caught up in the system that they have to hire somebody that you may say he's an X and O guy. So if my buddy, who I've been going through the trenches with, and I already had told him that you're gonna be my coach, but when you get there, you get the job, you start feeling some kind of way. Somebody might be in your ear and said, you got to get an X and O coach, man, because I know you're a motivator. You're more of a motivator type coach. So you got to get somebody that knows the X and O's, right? And then you go skip your friend who you said you was going, I'm gonna let you ride with me, and then you don't get him, even though your friend probably knows the X and O's too. You go outside of that. You let the university help choose that, and now you get that guy in there, and then that guy starts looking at you and talking behind your back to the athletic director and saying, "Man, he don't know what he's doing. You need to go ahead and get that job to me." But if you had your friend who probably is going to have your back 100. Like, man, don't worry about it. Just give them a chance. Keep them here. We're going to do it. We're going to build this thing up right. So when you have people that's in your circle that's coming in as a coach, but you don't really know them, they stabbing you in your back. Every time something go wrong, they write mental notes down.
Right.
Okay, he did this on this practice. He did this. Oh, he messed up. Oh,
That's how a lot of coaches get out of here too.
Man, come on, man. Man, Doug Collins told me this, man, one time, and I believe him, man. He said, everybody should be working together. It shouldn't be a coach talking bad about another coach to the organization. We all need to be on the same page. So if we win and we win championships, the other universities going to want you anyway, because we winning. We all winning, But when you start saying it's me, I drew that play up. I did that, or man, I made coach put such and such in the game. He wasn't going to put him in, and you trying to take all the credit, and then you go to behind the media, and then it leaks out that, man, coach don't even be running practice. I be running it. It gets out to the media. Now the athletic director is saying, well, shit, if you run it, then you need to be the head coach. Crazy, man. Crazy, man.
Because it's crazy, man, before it spirals, because those people slide in up under you like they got your best interest in mind.
Yeah.
All along, they looking to destroy.
And Bob, I love my Chicago, man. Chicago, I'm through thick and thin with them, man. Up and down, my ups and downs, I'm riding with Chicago. But Chicago do have a lot of people that don't want to see people succeed. And
I
that's the
wonder why
fact.
that is. I
We
wonder why
got
that is.
it's a fact, man. I don't know if somebody is programmed, but I know if I saw someone and I see them doing their thing, what I want to do is first try to set up a meeting with them. Like, dude, let's sit down and talk because I want to know how you got there, right? I want to know how you got there. Instead, we have people saying, "Oh man, he ain't gonna be there that long. Oh man, them over
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so they talk about him instead of saying, you know what? How can I help that brother? How can I help him keep that job? How can I send him some players because I got players in my AAU program? How can I send him some players? Right? Instead, we want to see him we want to see him fail instead of being successful. And I think that happens more so a lot in Chicago, but you do have some good people too. So you do have some good people that want to see people be successful. But most of the time, you hear it all the time in social media. Man, that dude's a bomb. Man, that dude is. Man, that dude made it into the NBA.
Yeah, man, and that right there, man, is a task in itself, man. I know. I was talking to Andre Wakefield at Tracy Dildridge retirement thing, and Andre Wakefield told me, he said, "Bob, man, I tell you what." He talked like that, man. I tell you what, man. Nick, I tried out for a team and they cut me in the crip line.
In the crip line. I ain't heard that word in a long time. The crip line.
He got cut in the crip line, but he said he went on to go to the league.
That's funny. That's funny.
Hey, so Liam, look, we got 1, 2. Hold on. I was gonna ask you this question, then I got to cut out, right?
Okay.
So, of all the Division I schools we got in Illinois, we got Bradley, Northwestern, Eastern, University of Illinois, Chicago State, Southern Illinois, Western Illinois, Loyola University, and Illinois Fighting Illini. Not one of those schools has ever hired a player from Chicago that played high-level basketball here in the history of Chicago, Illinois, ever. Why is that? Tracy Dildridge about the only one that had the job at Chicago State, and then Craig Hodges had the job at Chicago State. But beyond that, I don't know of any other elite players that had those jobs.
If players from Chicago or from the state of Illinois has the aspiration to being a coach, I think you should at least consider them for the university that they went to, not just coaching, at a school in the state of Illinois, but to the school that they played for. I think it's a slap in a lot of people's face. Like, I gave my blood, sweat, and some tears to that university. And if I felt that I can bring something to the table and I want to coach, and you don't even give me that opportunity, that's a slap in the face, man. And a lot of universities do that. A lot of universities do that.
Especially here.
Chris, what did Chris say? Don't forget DePaul. Oh, did you
say
DePaul?
I left DePaul out? Oh,
You
sorry
left
about
DePaul.
that, Chris. Sorry about that. Yeah, I just went off the internet. I knew somebody was missing.
We could even talk about DePaul a little bit with the history of DePaul basketball. You have, Mark Aguirre, you had Rod Strickland, and these
Terry Cummings.
And I know for sure Rod Strickland he wanted to be a head coach one day. He was under Calipari at Memphis, and then I think he joined him a little bit at Kentucky, then he left. But I knew he wanted to be a head coach. And I don't think DePaul even considered him as the
They
head
didn't
coach.
consider him at all?
I don't think so. I could be wrong. But I don't even think he was a candidate for the job. But I could be wrong.
Well, that word would have got back to you.
I could be
wrong. That word would have been out here that he visited Chicago. Right. The word it would have visited. It would have got out here.
I'm not knocking who they got. I love Tony Stubblefield. But I think Rod Strickland, because
should have got a look.
Because of who he was, man. Like what he did, he can get into the New York area and recruit those kids. He's still, a part of basketball right now, you know. And I
Mhm.
think he got a job now, if I'm not mistaken. I think he is coaching.
Down there,
And
Long
yeah,
Beach.
is that where he at now?
Yeah, I think it's Long Beach.
Okay. And oh, my man Chris said also, and Ty Corbin. Ty
Right.
Corbin was coaching in the NBA for a very long time,
Sure
you
was.
know,
Yeah.
and he didn't get an opportunity. I don't know if he wanted the job, and even if like a Mark Aguirre wanted it, and say this, let's say hypothetically, Mark doesn't have his degree, he could still work toward that degree to be.
Mark got his
coach.
degree though.
Yeah, I'm just saying if that's the case. I don't know the case, you know, or why, or Mark might not want to do it. I don't know.
Right.
But
Right.
if Mark, Terry Cummings, and Rod Strickland all wanted to be a coach and all on that bench, you know, when you walk into somebody's living room and you have guys that been there and done that and legends and they talking about the history of DePaul basketball and what it meant to them, how many kids that probably want to commit to there, because all three of those guys are where you trying to go. You know, you've been, you know, a college star player. They were all college star players. They all made it. They were all Americans in college. They all made it to the NBA. What better, you know, people to be with, you know, as coaches, being mentors to you and getting you ready. That's why you start to see a lot of NBA guys coaching college now. You got Jerry Stackhouse who's coaching now. You got some guys.
Gary Payton coaching at Lincoln University.
There you go.
There
you go. You got those guys. You got Penny Hardaway, you know, who's coaching at Memphis. Who Memphis was smart enough to say, you know what, man, we gotta bring this. This is Mr. Memphis. You know,
they've been trying to threaten his job, but he's still there. Stick, what's up, man? Comedian Stick say what's up. What's up with your brother?
He got people behind him, you know. Comedian Stick. Who is Comedian Stick?
Stick, man.
You can't just say Comedian Stick, man. You got to say he's a Simeon alum. He's Mr. Funny Man. He's doing his thing out there on the circuit, man. Definitely,
man. Your ass rolling, boy. Woo, Lord.
Definitely.
Lord,
that's my man.
Cool, man.
That's my main man. Stick, my main man.
Yeah,
so, but yeah, he's doing his thing,
though,
man. You have to.
You figure they gotta get that job. Can we get one good job to somebody at Illinois? In Illinois, period.
Oh, you're right. Comedian Stick, right? We forgot about Juwan Howard. He went back to Michigan where he played. Remember what we was just talking about? You know,
right?
I think to get more support behind people that you know and you're familiar with, right? But not only that are you familiar with, he's proven that he can coach. He can coach. And not only did he do that, he brought some old school flavor in to helping them. I think my man from St. Joe's, the coach that you talked to. I can't think of his name.
Is bad. Old man, the old man.
Yeah, but he was back in the day. So he brought him. He brought Howard Isley. He got some young flavor with him. So he got his staff the way he wanted it, you know, to help him become a better coach. And a lot of times people wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do that. They'll go say, man, you know, I'm threatened by this old coach because he's been in the game for a very long time. And he gonna take my job.
Phil Martelli didn't want that job. He don't want the head job. He don't mind being an assistant. And when they try to throw Juwan under the bus to him, he like, nope. I'm here for Juwan. I'm here to support him. This is his team. You know what I'm saying? Right. None of that dry stuff like, yeah, you know, he could have made a better decision. You know, that stuff that get coaches fired. Like when Juwan had that situation, he was 100% in with him. Hey, it's the heat of the battle. Look, I ride with Juwan. That's my guy. And those are the people you need around you. That's it. He said strict. He did it the right way, paid his dude as an assistant, and still couldn't get a sniff at the DePaul job. I mean, just being at Kentucky as an assistant and recruiter for years should warrant an interview at least. Chris Hill, you are absolutely right, man. You're absolutely right. It's just unfortunate politics of these sports, man. They just don't do right.
We got to get my man Rod Strickland on, man. Let's hear from him what he's up to, man. And that's what
he said at Long Island. Here at Long Island University.
Okay, so that's in New York, then, right?
Long Island's in California, ain't it?
I would think that was in New York. Long Island, New York. Yeah. But But I would love to get Rob on. Rod Strickland on the show, man, because I want to be able to help people too. You know, get it out, get the word out, what they're doing, what they're all about. Come on the show, man, and let's talk and get it out there so we can help you get more kids to your program, you know, too.
Oh yeah, man. And one thing I can say about this show in particular, it provides a level of comfort to guys when they come on. I noticed that when I look back at all our shows with Artis Gilmore and Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf and Kendrick Nunn and all of those guys, they just relax, man. Jawan Howard. They start laughing and chilling. So it wasn't like we were looking for dirt. We're not looking for dirt. You know? No. We don't want the dirt, you know, but we will call you out on some garbage though, like Liv just did. So, but Liv, I got to get ready to scram, man. I got to get ready.
We both do.
I got to do. Man, this was a real one right here, though, man.
No doubt, man. No doubt. And we have to keep educating people. We have to keep getting people on our show, sharing their moments and what they're up to, you know. And I think that's key to All Ball Chicago. And we're gonna continue to bring it. We're gonna continue to bring it.
And then in closing, I want you to close on that list. Your take on the list, and then we out of here.
Man, throw that list away, burn it, put it in the garbage can. Don't even read it, man. Get that list up out of here, man. Top 60. Now, I love some of the people on that list, though, but the rest of them, man, get on up out of here, man. Get your ass out of here. Oh, man.
Oh, man. This your boy Bobby Reed, the co-host, man. We got the legend. We got the NBA veteran. We got the McDonald America. We got the Parade All-America. He scored 41 points in the city championship, 41 points in the state championship. The record still ain't been broke. Give it up for your boy Marcus Liberty, man.
Hey, Bob, and that was without a three-pointer. That 41 could have been 60 easy. I'm out, man. We out here.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank y'all for watching. Chicago, all ball, Chi-Town, all ball, Chicago.